Oftentimes, you'll be asked to evaluate your piecewise function at a given x value. For example, f of x, f of 0, and f of negative 4. We're going to do this with two different piecewise functions so you can see the process. What you're wanting to do is you're wanting to determine which equation you're going to use to implement your x of 7, 0, and negative 4, depending on the restrictions that are given. For our first piece, in problem 1, we are evaluating f of 7. So we want to look at our restrictions and see which restriction fits this value. For example, here in the top we have that x is greater than or equal to 3, which 7 is definitely greater than 3. So it fits in this restriction. Therefore, we're going to be using the first equation, which is x plus 5. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be implementing your x value of 7 into your equation and solving. So 7 plus 5 is 12. Again, for part B, we want to evaluate f of 0. So we look at a restriction and we see which restriction fits an x of 0. We have two potential equations that we could use, but this first one will not work because it is not or equal to 0. It is solely less than 0, which means we have to use this last piece in order to evaluate f of 0. So we would be using the function of 5x. And again, you're implementing the x value into that function and solving. So 5 times 0 is 0. Finally, for the third piece, f of negative 4, we go back to our restrictions and we see which equation we would be able to use. We want values that are less than 0, so therefore we're using our second equation because we have negative 4. So you're going to be implementing your negative 4 into the x squared minus 4 equation, written this way. Remember to put the negative 4 in parentheses in order to note that is negative 4 times negative 4, not negative times 4 times 4. So in this case, you get the 16 minus 4, which is what you want, in order to equal 12. Now we'll do it with this equation, which looks a little bit more daunting, but it's not that bad. Our part A is f of 7, once again. So we want to look at our restrictions and see which equation we can use for the value of 7. And we're going to be using the first one because we have x is greater than 4, which 7 is. So you will be using the square root of x minus 3. You will be implementing the x into this equation in order to solve. 7 minus 3 is 4. And then the square root of 4 is technically positive negative 2 because you can always have two answers for a square root. When you want to find f of 0, we again determine which equation we're going to be using. And in this case, we're going to be using the second equation because 0 is between negative 2 and positive 2. So in this case, we will be using the x cubed equation. And you will be implementing the f of 0 into that equation in order to evaluate. And in this case, 0 cubed is just 0. Our final piece is f of negative 4. Again, you want to determine which restriction your x value fits in. And in this case, it's the last restriction because negative 4 is less than negative 2. So you will be using the negative x equation. You implement your x value. So negative times negative 4 is equivalent to a positive 4. And that is how you evaluate values for your piecewise functions.